Good morning, and welcome back to the Hat and Beard Show. I, of course, am your host with the mostest hat and beard, and today we're going to be talking about exclusively where the Lions fall in aggregate amongst all of the pundits. Well, at least the major media pundits in this week's NFL Power Rankings. A little bit of a deviation from the last couple of Power Week videos we've been doing. We're not going to be covering the top 10. Look, guys, we're getting too close to the playoffs. Here it is. We have 4 weeks left. 4 weeks left of the regular season. 4 short weeks left. Big game coming up this Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. A regularly, number 2, number 3 in the power rankings. This has the potentiality to be a Super Bowl preview, okay? Most of us are probably under the assumption that the Chiefs are going to have the media and the stripes and the league carry them to the Super Bowl because the NFL wants to have the dynasty allure. They want to market the dynasty. They want to market their golden boy Patrick Mahomes. And who from the NFC is best to fight against the Chiefs than the Detroit Lions? In a classic matchup, just the aesthetics of the color alone, you literally will have red versus blue. I think the Lions, after this week against Green Bay, with our MASH unit of a defense, we really are a team of destiny. We have the mandate of heaven behind us. The Lions are destined for a Super Bowl this season. Many more to come after that, especially when we get back healthy next year in Aiden Hutchinson and we draft a defensive end and a rotationary offensive lineman. I do think, though, that this game will be a big measuring stick for us. Now, our team is incredibly physical. We are coming off a micro-sized bye week, be it that we played on Thursday, so we get almost a week and a half of relief. Buffalo had to fly from Buffalo to LA, from LA back to Buffalo, then from Buffalo to Detroit, all in the span of 7 days. They did have a pretty physical game against the Rams Sunday night. Or Sunday afternoon, I should say. Things are shaping up to be a real good game. It's a 4:30 game. We are rolling with the Motor City Muscle, all black, blue helmets. It's going to be a sick matchup. So that's just a little something to entice you guys to watch this week. We are going to be running through just where the Lions rank on the power rankings because at this point in time, I don't care about any other team. We will be branching out in the future into covering more NFL content, but right now, we have 4 weeks until the playoffs. I need to put all of my energy behind the Detroit Lions, and I think you guys know exactly where I'm coming from, you hardcore Lions fans, you guys that have been in this boat with me for decades at this point, knowing that something is different this year, and this is the team of destiny. So we are going to be going to our old friend John Macaron. Reach out to me, John, so I know how to pronounce your last name. Find me on Twitter or Instagram or something like that. I like your content. We read it pretty regularly here on the channel. Over at SI.com, we are going to be reading an article where he has compiled all of the aggregate data to see where the Lions rank amongst major media pundits. As far as the power rankings are concerned. But, guys, before we do me a rock-solid favor. You know how this goes. Go ahead and like the video if you enjoy this content that we're producing. Subscribe to the channel if you want to be a part of the Hat and Beard gang.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
And continue to grow here with us. We have just passed 600 subscribers. Things are really starting to tick up for us, y'all. I know I'm a little inconsistent from time to time, but we will be changing that. Things are, especially now here in Grandma's Studio 1. Let's go, Grandma's old sewing room. And comment down below what you guys think. Is this an actual depiction of where the Lions should be? Do you have a different take? Should the Lions maybe be moved down a little bit, considering how our defense is, in fact, a MASH unit? Does our offense have it? Is Dan Campbell going to get our way? We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I'll try and link that video about how some people are thinking Dan Campbell will be the factor that holds the Lions back from a Super Bowl appearance, if not a Super Bowl victory in the coming years, if not this year alone. And then finally, the biggest benefit that you can do for this specific video alone, outside of channel growth, just this video alone to get more eyeballs on it, do me a rock solid, okay? I know a lot of you are probably just watching on your phone, just chilling. I actually try and tailor my content to be more visually appealing to mobile consumers because I myself am a guy who consumes a lot of media on the go. Okay, I listen to roughly 46 to 50 hours of YouTube a week. And it is mostly just I pay for premium, so I have my screen's just off. I got it in my pocket, and I'm just listening to stuff, okay? If you want to try something totally off kilter here, I'll try and link it in the video below, or in the description below. Go and check out Brick and Mortar, okay? They just released a fantastic video, an absolute banger of a video about what's called the Texas Towers.
Surrounded by nothing but frequently raging North Atlantic waters as far as the eye could see. The battered, stationary, offshore early warning radar platform, Texas Tower 4. The Texas Tower program went from what could have been to a tragic, deadly, short-lived program that lives in infamy to this day.
Okay, and they are a Cold War era offshore early detection system, and specifically Texas Tower number 4. So I'll try and link that below, but if you guys, just try and, so you kind of see where I'm coming from, so you're like, oh my gosh, Hat and Beard listens to 50 hours of YouTube a week. Well, I listen to hour-and-a-half long documentaries about offshore early detection Cold War radar systems. But back to the originally what I was talking about, I tailored these videos to be more towards you mobile consumers, guys who are watching on the laptop. Good for you. I didn't have a laptop when I was introduced to YouTube, so I consume most of it through my phone. Okay. So just go ahead, and while you're sitting there, flip it. All right. Flip your phone horizontal or vertical. Yeah, vertical. I'm so stupid. Flip it vertical so that I'm small. Click the share button. Okay. Just click share. All right. And then just copy to clipboard. You don't even have to share it with your friends. If you want to share it with your friends and family, yo, bro, chef's kiss unto you, mi amigo. But just click copy to your clipboard. The algorithm takes that as a share, and the more interactions we have, comments, subscriptions, shares of this particular video, the more the algorithm pushes it out to other people to try and get more eyeballs on you, boy. So ideally, we can kind of continue to grow. And finally, shout out to my lunchtime, or my workers who are taking a poop break right now. I know I'm getting a little long-winded. We're going to try and condense this down so you can not get anal fissures from sitting there watching my content like you did yesterday. So now that that's out of the way, boys and gals and everything in between, let's get into it. Okay, coming to us from SportsIllustrated.com. You already know who we're going to be reading. Our guy, John McCron. Let's go. Power rankings. Lions shedding problems that ruined other teams. Lions are universally considered best NFL team. And Hat and Beard is universally considered to have a 5th grade reading level. Look at your boy, Sam Laporta. Dude, Laporta, sidebar. Video's going to get longer. Sorry, guys. I was all week long worried about Amon-Ra's production, J-Mo's production. Going into the game, I had this sneaky suspicion that it wasn't going to be our guys producing, not our guys, but the main guys. I felt like it was going to be the I don't want to say secondary players. Let's go ahead and refresh this while I talk up a storm. Not necessarily secondary players, but our secondary options. Obviously, Amon-Ra's our top target. J-Mo has been heavily integrated into the offense now, right? He is averaging, I think, 6 targets a game. What is going on with this power rankings page, dude? I don't understand it. So knowing that Amon-Ra was going to be probably a limited viability as far as his not availability as health-wise, but his production on the field, you know that teams are going to be targeting him. I just had a feeling that this game was going to be a Sam Laporta game, and it ended up being more of a Tim Patrick, fireball Tim Patrick, dude. Shot at fireball Tim Patrick. I love Tim Patrick. The Tim Patrick story here in Detroit is so awesome, dude. And it's even more ironic that the Broncos brought in Josh Reynolds, who they just cut last week, from Detroit, and we brought in Tim Patrick, who got cut from Denver to replace Josh Reynolds, and he's arguably having equally as productive of a season as Josh Reynolds was. Okay, let's not forget the last time we seen Josh Reynolds, he was dropping passes in the NFC Championship game, and everybody wanted to blame Dan Campbell. I blame him, and Kindle Vildor. that's neither here nor there. Tim Patrick has been an awesome story. Blew out his knee in 22, tore his Achilles in 23, released in the preseason of this year, picked up by the Detroit Lions. He's been reliable as a wide receiver. He's a big body, still relatively athletic considering he's got a rebuilt knee and a rebuilt Achilles tendon. But the guy's run blocking ability, he's like having another lineman out there, dude. It is so good. Tim Patrick. So that all to say, going into this game, I had a feeling that it was going to be a Sam Laporta productive day and a Tim Patrick productive day. And boy, howdy, what was it? I unfortunately got too high on some coworkers' parlays and leaned a little too much into the JMO. Basically, I had Waymo going for an anytime touchdown, and that ended up kind of screwing me. So there you go. All that to say, Sam Laporta there. That was an awesome player. To see a little Kevin Zeitler blocking downfield. That's what we like to see, is our linemen get downfield blocking. I mean, you got a 310, 315-pound man on a 210-pound DB right there. Yeah, Quay Walker's a big guy, but Sam Laporta can handle him. This is a colossal mismatch. This is why we get so much production downfield, because our offensive line is so good at sealing the first level, shucking off their man, and moving forward to the second level as the play is producing forward. Not just hit a quick banger and then off to the second level. No, they're securing the first level, allowing the play to develop past them, and then moving forward ahead of the play. Consistently, you see, maybe it's Ben Johnson, maybe it's the athleticism of our linemen, but our offensive line is consistently downfield blocking on running and pass plays. It's a beautiful thing. All right, here's a look, back to the article, here's a look at the Detroit Lions stand in the eyes of pundits in this week's power rankings after defeating the Green Bay Packers. 34-31, which apparently a W doesn't matter. Dan Campbell, remember we talked about yesterday, Dan Campbell's Mr. Stupid Pants. Mr. Stupid Pants. All right, SI, Sports Illustrated, Power Rankings, number 1. Last week, number 1. Example number 374 of the Lions simply shedding problems that have been season ruiners for other teams and continuing to excel. Your friendly neighborhood Dan Skipper started in place again for Taylor Decker and allowed one pressure. One pressure. Is there a bad player on this team? And I have also Dan Skipper rules. And he's your friendly neighborhood Dan Skipper. I was a little down on him, mostly because, we extended Taylor Decker, and you want to see a guy that you invested that kind of money in, you want to see him out there more. I, though, personally think Dan Skipper has been playing really, really well in replacement of Taylor Decker, and I think Taylor Decker I think we're seeing the slow downfall of Taylor Decker. I think his best years are probably behind him. He's clearly taken a step back this year. Maybe it could be nagging injuries. But unless Giovanni Manu really takes a huge step in the offseason and the coaching staff is just absolutely sold on the guy, I think that now is the time you start to consider looking for your next offensive lineman. Be it that you swap Penny over to the left side and you draft a right tackle. Maybe Penny, because he's such a dominant right tackle, maybe you look for the equivalent of a Penny Sewell at left tackle moving forward. I just think that, and we'll talk about it more in the offseason, I think offensive line, interior offensive line, and a swing tackle, potentially your future starter left tackle, needs to be something we need to address in the draft, as well as a complimentary rush edge for Aiden Hutchinson. Man, Dan Skipper does rule, though. Your friendly neighborhood Dan Skipper. Your friendly. If anybody sees Dan Skipper on the street today, go ahead. Give him a pat on the back. Hand him out a little attaboy. Tell him Dan Skipper. Friendly neighborhood Dan Skipper. You're here to buy him a cup of coffee. The Athletic. Last week won. This week won. Tim Patrick suffer. Here we go. My boy Fireball talking about Fireball. Tim Patrick. Why can't I highlight? Oh, such lag. What is going on here? Tim Patrick suffered a season-ending knee injury in 2022 preseason. He suffered a season-ending Achilles injury in the 2023 preseason. He was cut by the Broncos in the 2024 preseason, and now the Lions have another weapon. Ain't they the truth? Tim Patrick, who began the season in Detroit's practice squad, caught 2 touchdowns against the Packers in his first since 2021. The journey was long, but it was worth it, he said. Thursday, I've won the most games I've won in my career, and the season ain't over yet. I've got like 30 reporters in front of me right now. I'm very blessed and thankful for this team. Also, fun fact, Sports has a way of elevating players during times of strife or just weird things happening. And not only did Tim Patrick catch those 2 touchdown passes and have just an eruption of a game, but that was last Thursday was also the birthday for his dad, who's no longer with us. So that was kind of a big thing. I also really like I like guys like that, Tim Patrick, because he said a couple things during an interview that really just like, I'm like, tip of the hat, mi amigo, tip of the hat. CBS Sports last week. Dan Campbell needs to stop with 4th down decisions. This team is too good for that. Now they'll face a big one with the Bills. Are we, though? Are we too good for that? I covered it in my last video. If it was anybody else other than the Packers, then yeah, maybe we probably wouldn't have gone for it on 4th down. But the Packers have a way of doing weird shit. Doing weird shit at the end of the game in Ford Field. Yahoo, this week, 1. Last week, 1. Defensive injuries are getting concerning. Oh, they're just now getting concerning with 15 players on IR. We can talk and joke about Dan Campbell going for it on 4th and 1 instead of taking a field goal last Thursday. But in doing so, he indicated that he didn't trust his defense to hold Green Bay out of field goal range with about 40 seconds left. No, it's not that he didn't trust his defense. It's that weird shit happens. Clearly, you've not been following the Lions for very long. Bleacher Report, this week, 1. Last week, 1. Fans love Campbell's kneecap-biting intensity, but there's a line between intense and recklessness, just like there's a very thin difference between insanity and genius. Just look at Howard Hughes, okay? And Campbell crossed it on one of the 4th downs where the Lions didn't convert, but somehow Why is everybody so hung up on the one time we didn't convert, we gave him a short field, and then we still won the game? Do W's not matter? Scoreboard. It's woosah. Turning it over on downs on the 30-yard line just isn't smart football. It didn't cost Detroit in Week 14, but that's the kind of gaffe that could get. Pardon me. Protein shake. They can get you bounced in the postseason. Campbell is who he is. He is who we thought he is. They are who we thought they are. But sometimes you got to have enough sense to just know your first impulse is a bad one. But it works. Why would Dan Campbell change who he is? I'm not going to go down this road. Furthermore, Green Bay is a playoff team. So I don't understand. I don't understand your lot. I'm not going to get all worked up. I'm not going to get all worked up about the mainstream media chastising a strong, good leader of a man, living life the way he wants to live life and forcing his will onto his opponents. I'm not going to get upset about that. USA Today power rankings this week 1, last week 1. Their positioning at the top of the heap feels fairly unsatiable. Unassailable? Whatever. The NFC leaders tried for the league's best record, 12-1 consecutive playoff bursts in hand for the first time in 29 years, and the NFL's largest point differential. We're outscoring opponents by 183 points. Yeah, we did clinch playoffs, so back-to-back playoff bursts for the Detroit Lions. And yet there's a mounting defensive injuries, the potential double-edged sword bore of head coach Dan Campbell's fearless decision-making, to say nothing, in fact, that Minnesota's 11-2 just will not go away. That's true. They are very annoying. Regardless of how overshadowed the Vikings tend to be, said more scrutiny, the Lions are currently the best team, but their operating environment where hard left turn seems increasingly possible. And then finally, ESPN had us at 1, and again at 1. Detroit's offense has posted 20-plus points in 11 straight games while averaging a league-high 31 points. Offense coordinator Ben Johnson, Big PP Ben Johnson, uses a creative approach to getting the most out of his playmakers, including quarterback JG16 for MVP, running backs Dave Montgomery and Sonic and Knuckles, receivers Jamo Waymo Williams, and Amon-Ra, the Sun God, St. Brown, among others like Fireball Tim Patrick and Sam Laporta. Detroit also has a point differential of plus 183, which is the highest through the first 13 games of any season in franchise history. This offense has appeared unstoppable at times. God, that's awesome. And then John McCron, he's been covering Detroit sports for 11 years. Appreciate you, you and what you do there, homie. Appreciate all you do. So, another good article. All right, boys. So that's going to do it for us here. Let me know, what did you guys think down below? Do you think that the Lions are unanimously the number one overall in power rankings? Do you have a different take? Do you think it's somebody like the Bills or the Chiefs? The Bills did just lose, by the way. And the Chiefs only win because the refs keep bailing them out. So, all right, hey, we kept that pretty clean, pretty concise, pretty short. So let's just cut it with that. I appreciate you guys hanging out. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Make sure to comment, subscribe, like, share the video, all that jazz. Until next time, bonga bonga. Frig off.